If you could have a drink with anyone in the theater world, who would it be? I'm Anthony Caporale, and I'm running through my list. Each week, I'll sit down with cast members, bartenders, and personalities from New York's theater district and get a behind-the-scenes look at what it's like to live, work, and play on Broadway. Come have a drink with us on Broadway Bartender. Welcome to Broadway Bartender. My name is Anthony Caporale, and we are at New World Stages in the heart of Manhattan's theater district, home to my show, The Imbible, A Spirited History of Drinking, and also home to our special guest show this week. I'll tell you about them in just a minute. We're going to start off with a drink that happens to go back to my old stomping grounds, the South, North Carolina, but this is actually drunk throughout the South, North Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, and this is just Jack Daniels and sweet tea. Really simple, really classic, really, really easy to make. I'm gonna take a tall glass, fill it up with ice, and then an ounce and a half of Jack Daniels, which is a 3 count per drink, and then sweet tea, almost to the top. And I just want to leave a little bit of room because I like to cut the sweetness of that tea with some fresh lemon juice. So it's got almost sort of an Arnold Palmer sort of lineage to it. But I like considerably more tea than lemon juice. All right, and then I'm just going to, this is called rolling the drink. And let's just make sure the ingredients are mixed. And then I'm going to garnish it with a nice wedge of fresh lemon and serve this to our special guests this week, Jason Odell Williams and Rob Nagel of Church and State, one of the most important shows, in my opinion, playing in New York, also neighbors of ours here at New World Stages. And I got to say, that's saying a lot because there's a lot of topical shows up right now. And you guys, I mean, I think, again, I'm not exaggerating, I think it's probably one of the most important shows in New York. I was privileged to see a reading. Our schedules are right opposite each other, so I haven't seen the show yet. But tell our audiences about Church and State.
Well, thank you for saying that.
Yeah, so first of all, cheers.
First things first.
Yes,
yeah.
first things first.
Plays and all that, but,
but
have some of this.
The straw.
Yeah, forget the straw. Forget the straw.
That's great.
The play, I'm terrible at describing the play. Rob does a better job of describing it.
But you wrote it.
But I wrote it, but writers can never describe their own plays because I'll tell you the whole thing.
Right. Okay.
Don't stop now. Stop.
Okay,
now.
Rob does a very nice, concise, and good description.
And Rob, you play Senator Charles Whitmore.
Senator Charles Whitmore, yes.
The central character. They're all very central. But
there are 4 characters in the play. It's 75 minutes all in. So no intermission. It's a roller coaster, and you go on it. It's about a North Carolina Republican senator who's up for re-election. There's a school shooting in his hometown, and at one of the funerals for 2 of the kids, 2 brothers, a reporter asks him if he turns to prayer in his time of need, and for the first time in a really long time, he answers honestly, and thus begins the trouble for his campaign. So it's a comedy.
Which I don't know how you did, by the way. It is absolutely one of the funnier shows I've ever seen. I'm not going to say hysterical because I think it's not appropriate for the subject matter, but it's absolutely an incredibly smart, funny show.
There's a lot of laugh in there because if it was all heavy, we'd all walk out and want to jump off a cliff or tune out in the middle of the show. So and it's through behavior. It's not slamming doors and anyone tripping over things. It's not Three Stooges, but it's a smart comedy that deals with a heavy subject matter with a lot of relevance and a lot of honor. That's kind of how it feels to me. How did you do it?
Well, because I can't write anything that's super dark. I wrote a play recently that's all dark, and I hate it. So if I can't even read it, why would I think anyone would come see it? So I started with the beginning of the play, which is this guy that can't find ESPN on TV, and that's just like normal, regular behavior, and there's humor in that, and then it just kind of goes from there. And it's really about those 3 people. It's the senator, his wife, and his campaign manager are the 3 central characters, and the humor just comes from this sort of triangle of they have different beliefs, and so the humor isn't about the tragedy, the humor isn't about religion, it's not about politics, it's about just this kind of backstage pre-show before he's about to give his campaign speech. There's a lot of humor just in that situation, and then sort of as you peel back the onion, you start to realize what's going on, then it gets serious again, and then there's kind of an act break, even though there's no intermission, and then it gets funny again, and then it gets, I think, very, very serious and dark, and then hopefully uplifting.
Yeah.
So hopefully we take you on a roller coaster.
It's definitely a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster to perform it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And it's also a heck of a lot of fun. I also love that it's about gun sense. It's about, you know, trying to find some sense in our gun laws. And it's not partisan, it's not political, it's very even-handed. I've got friends on both sides of the aisle who've come to it and said the same thing. It's like, we love this play, we love what it's saying. So in a lot of ways, I feel like it's starting a conversation that we desperately need on this issue in this country.
Well, that's what I loved about it. When I walked out, I was like, I'm glad that this is finally bringing this issue to a place where people on both sides of the aisle can discuss it and find some common ground, because we normally come at it from just so vastly different positions, you can't even get the talking started, right?
Absolutely.
But you've managed to find that common ground.
Good job.
Yeah, well, obviously.
It's true.
You know, one of the things that I mentioned to you before we started taping, I lived in North Carolina for 18 years.
Raleigh, you said.
Yeah, in
Raleigh,
Raleigh.
Durham, right?
Yeah, the
Which is
capital.
where the show takes place most in Raleigh. Yeah.
And one of the things that was fascinating to me is it just, everything about the show rang so true to me in my experience. I met senators in my time down there. You know, I met people like that. I'd been to campaign rallies and stuff. What did you do for research? I mean, how did you get such
I wish I could give you like a really amazing like
it up. Make up
Moneyball
something
answer.
good.
Like
Yeah.
I embedded with the Red Sox for 5 years. No, I went to school in Charlottesville at UVA, and most of my friends were from Virginia and South. I'm from Maryland, so I was like the northerner at school. And so it's just really based on their moms that I grew up with. So their moms and their dads and just they're like my friends and family. And then, you know, obviously watching TV and, you know, watching guys on MSNBC, those Southern senators and, you know, Republican congressmen, a little bit of that too. But it's mostly just based on people I know. And
So we've spent more time in North Carolina than you did, but
Wow.
you wrote the play with that kind of truth?
well, but I spent.
That's not fair.
I mean, I spent 4 years in Charlottesville, Virginia, which is not
It's close.
It's close, but it's like a college North Carolina town. It's
Oh,
like
absolutely.
Chapel Hill.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I've spent some time in North Carolina.
Oh, we want to talk about that.
So
But-
I think the other interesting thing about it to me was it wasn't just that the setting and the characters seemed real. The situations, I really got a sense that I was looking behind the curtain, because the show takes place for the most part backstage.
It's all
Yeah,
backstage.
I really felt like I was peering behind the curtain.
Yeah.
You know, again, how did you figure out what these people are like when they're not how we normally see them? They don't show us. They don't show that to us, right?
It's a little bit of an educated guess. It's a little bit of, you know, this is how I want them to be backstage. I mean, it's probably actually a lot more boring. It's probably a lot more pedestrian. It's probably a lot more sort of practical stuff, but that's not fun, right? You want to see the fun stuff.
But you wrote real people. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
thing. It seems like you put real people in these extraordinary roles, life roles.
And so that's where you start, but then also you need 3 people to go up and do it. And Rob, who did it in LA, also, we started in LA. I've said this story to him many times. He's probably sick of it, but we met. I'm like, hi, nice to meet you. Hey, you know, hanging out, having some sort of drinks and lunch, right? It was like
we're
sort of
just
over
sitting around
lunch.
a table
And
for
then
a
it was like,
table
all right,
read.
we're gonna
You never
read.
heard
We're
the
gonna
cast.
read. And he opened his mouth. He has the first line of the play, and it was like, who the hell is this guy? Like he was the guy I had in my head, like without even trying, or maybe you are trying. It seemed so effortless. That was so amazing. So yeah, hopefully I've written some 3-dimensional characters, but then you need actors who can then take it to the next level, which is
Well, I
we
have to
got
say,
very lucky.
I saw the show at an earlier reading
Yeah.
here in New York at the Cell Theater before it moved to New World Stages, and I told you before we started shooting, I wasn't lying. It was probably the best reading I've ever seen. I mean, the talent that you brought to the roles. If you had told me you had wrote the role for Rob, I would have believed it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it
Thank
was
you. Thank
was
both.
you. That character inhabited you, and you inhabited the character. It was amazing
Thank
to
you.
me.
Thank
What
you.
is your background? I mean, you know,
Just a journeyman actor.
From
you
where?
know, I'm born in Oregon, raised in Illinois and in Virginia. Went to college outside of Chicago at Northwestern.
my brother went to Northwestern.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
musician.
Oh yeah.
Amazing
I know that
program,
school.
yeah.
It's a great program. The music program is fantastic.
All the
And
arts
theater,
there, yeah.
they do a really amazing job there. I'm very, very proud of having gone there. And they were theater crazy when I was there. They still are. So I had a lot of really great training with some really great people. And I stayed around Chicago for about 3 years, then stayed around New York for about 3 years, and then my wife and I took the plunge to try LA. So we're still trying it out. It's been 20 years, 20 years that we've been out there. And now I'm here in New York, and I love it. I love being here. I've kind of uprooted life to come back and be part of this community again in this show. So my background's I'm a journeyman actor and stage, television, film, commercials. I'll do any of it. I'm pretty cheap that way. I have very low standards.
And so how did you meet? I mean, how did you get involved in this project? You've been with it a while, obviously.
We met, they cast Rob in the LA production, and we met literally that day of that first reading. So.
The director, Alina DeSantos, who was doing the production, the world premiere at the Skylight Theater in Los Angeles, sent me an email and said, hey, take a look at the Senator. And I thought, oh boy, I get a PDF. Who knows what the Senator? What's that? Okay, I'll read it. And I was like, oh, it's not too long. It's pretty. I could read it in one sitting. And I remember reading it, and I couldn't put it down. And by the end of it, I said, oh crap. And my wife said, what? Is it that bad? And I said, no, it's that good. I think I have to do everything in my power to do this forever.
Wow.
And that's how it happened. So I got an offer and an email, and I said yes.
Well, I got to say, amazing combination. The words and your acting skills are just, like I said, it's like they're meant for each other.
Thank you.
Really,
Thank
really
you.
amazing. And also kudos to the other actors that I saw.
Yeah,
They're just
Terrific
all
group.
phenomenal.
It's a special family that I get to work with every week. It's really lovely.
So tell me about the journey. I mean, from LA through the reading that I saw to New World Stages.
We're really lucky to be here. It's not common that a play will do a regional production and then come to New York less than a year later.
Yeah.
My wife, Charlotte Cohn, is the producer. She co-produced one of my first plays in New York and said she would never do it again. Rightfully so. It's a horrible business, producing theater. It's very, very tricky. But then, obviously she read this play.
How did you get her to do it?
I was like, well, you're going to read this play because you're my wife. You're going to read it. Tell me if it's good. And again, like you, she was like, damn it. I guess I'm going to have to do this.
I wanted to say no.
And so it went well in LA. It went well. We had another production in Rochester, New York too. And then it went well in these places. And then she said, well, let's do a reading here. It was also at the Cell Theater. And we'll do it as a benefit for Sandy Hook Promise. And that way there's no pressure. And we'll just, raise a little bit of money, give it to Sandy Hook Promise, and that's it. And she did it, and then everybody was like, well, when are you doing the play?
Yeah.
And she just thought, oh, maybe we need to do it. And also just what was happening in politics at the time, it just felt like we got to do it fast. And so we busted our butt to try and find a place. And Michael Coco was at one of those early readings and was like, we have an opening, why don't you come to our theater? And so we just made it happen.
Yeah, he's an amazing, amazing human being. He was instrumental in getting us here as well.
And a big fan, a big supporter from the beginning, which is really probably rare, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
So you mentioned Sandy Hook. Talk to me about how that influenced the show. And
well, so the short answer of like how I wrote the play is that after Sandy Hook happened, a month later I had a draft of this play because I was just angry and upset, like I think a lot of people were. But I'd truthfully been thinking about a play about the issue of guns in America and a politician and how those two things would intersect since Virginia Tech, which was in 2007, and then again 2011 after Gabby Giffords was shot in Tucson. So it was these two major events that had me thinking about something like this. And Sandy Hook happened, and I had to just, in a rage, I turned out a very bad draft, but knowing that there might be something there. And so over the course of 2 more years, we developed it. But then Sandy Hook was, we just sort of reached out to everybody we knew and then found somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody. And then we got Mark Barden, who founded Sandy Hook Promise, and Senator Chris Murphy to come to a recent production, see the performance, and do a talk back afterwards. And so it was always our goal. We feel like the play is more than just a play. We hope it's a conversation starter. We hope it's sort of a part of a bigger movement. And so, yeah, it's great to do the play and have audiences come and love it, but we also want to maybe affect change in some way. So we partnered with Sandy Hook Promise, New Yorkers Against Gun Violence, Every Time for Gun Safety, and
Virginia Tech Victims Family Outreach
Foundation.
Foundation.
So my cousin went to Virginia Tech and was president of the student union in Chicago for a long time. I got to get him in to see this.
I think he should be there. He should be there. Yeah.
So we've had people from all of those organizations come and see the play, participate in a talkback, which is amazing. We do a little pitch at the end of every show and say, if you can give a couple more bucks, and we raise money and we split it among those 4 charities. So hopefully it's not just where you're doing a play and trying to make a buck. You're trying to make a difference too. So it was always important to us that the play would somehow be tied to Sandy Hook's mission and all of these organizations as well.
So you're actively trying to affect change with the piece.
I mean, in our tiny, small way. And listen, we know that in Los Angeles and Rochester and New York, we are preaching to a blue audience. But
Yeah.
but the goal, knowing all along, this was a sort of a step. This is a process, and hopefully we can then get it to North Carolina, Florida, Texas, all over the place. And as many of those places that Rob is willing to go, we will take him there.
Don't tell the directors. I come with the project.
Schedule
Can we
allowed.
get that in writing?
Schedule
Yeah.
out. But
that was my
yeah, the
idea
goal
from
is,
the beginning.
is to go to all 50 states. You know.
When I first got involved, I thought, I'm in for this for the long game. I believe in this. I want to see this across the country to start the conversations, because it's not, the only way to find some kind of consensus is to look at both sides of this issue and figure out where we meet in the middle, because otherwise we don't have safety.
Right.
We don't have either gun rights or gun safety, and then we're all screwed, right?
Right.
I was going to say another word, but I don't know if I
No,
can right
well,
now.
And I think theater's one of the places that you can actually start those conversations. If you
I'd
try
love
and
to
do it
think
on
so,
like
yeah.
a TV show with the talking heads on C-SPAN or whatever, it's like, they just yell at each other. But when you come, I told this story the other day. We had, during one of the talkbacks, a woman who said, I voted for Trump, I'm a gun owner, I love this play, I think you do both sides very equally, and I think everyone should see it.
wow.
And we're like, wow, that's amazing.
Can we put you on the poster?
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
And she ran out
Yeah.
waving her gun. She didn't really do that. No,
So
but-
this was, you guys do talkbacks?
Every Wednesday, it's at the bare minimum. It's me and Rob. Sometimes it's the whole cast, and then once in a while we have these partners like the Everytown or Sandy Hook
Virginia Tech
Promise,
or
and those
Sandy
guys
Hook,
will
yeah.
come,
Or New Yorkers Against
and
Gun
then
Violence.
the focus will really be about them and their mission.
So one of the things that I find interesting is you don't just deal with the issue of gun violence in the show, you also deal with prayer.
Yeah.
And integrity in politics and honesty. I mean, you're taking on a lot of really core issues. Do you find that audiences in the talkbacks are able to swallow all that at once? Or are they like, well, I'm with you on the gun thing, but not the prayer thing, or vice versa? Or
I think they're on board for the whole thing.
They're on board for the whole thing, and I think they also that some will come and say the religious thing really spoke to me. Some will be like the gun violence thing really spoke to me. So I think it's everybody comes with their own agenda to any play, and so certain things will speak to them. But I always felt like you couldn't just do a play about a gun issue. So my in was this sort of crisis of faith that would lead him to question his belief in God, and that would, well, if that's now like sand through my fingers, maybe the Second Amendment is also something I should think again about. So,
Right.
I think you talk to
think it
more
works.
people after the show than I do. So,
I think it works on
yeah.
all the levels. The most common comment I get after each show is, "Will you run?
Wow.
Run for office.
We want you in the White House,
Wow.
and you're a politician I can get behind."
Yeah.
Which is really sobering to hear.
And he's a
speaking
Republican in the play.
Yeah.
And these are Democrats for the most part. They're like, I would vote for you for president or senator in my state, even though you're Republican, because you are in the middle. You are speaking the truth.
And are they talking about the character?
Yeah.
Or the actor?
Well,
or they don't
both.
know where to draw the
I
line
don't know.
anymore in this
when
country?
the show closes, I'm available for either, because clearly,
Yeah.
where's the reality anymore? We
I
can't
mean, it
really
speaks
tell.
highly to both of you, but it's a little bit frightening to hear as an outsider.
Well, it's
If we-
frightening. It's frightening. Isn't it frightening? Because it's frightening in
we
the
can't
sense
tell the difference
that
between real people and characters and who we're electing anymore.
or the other side of it, which is also equally frightening, which is how our feelings about the politicians we're voting for are not people we want to get behind. What I just saw here, that's a depiction of a politician that I want to believe in again.
Right.
We've lost any sense of that. I mean, I know they're out there. I know they're fighting hard. They're trying to keep themselves in
yeah.
office and stand
Yeah.
by with their integrity. But yeah, that's the most common thing I hear is like, we want to vote for you.
Wow.
Other than that was an incredible piece of work and thank you for doing it. And I laughed and I cried and it was better than Cats. But it's like, but it's that we want you to run.
Wow. You know, I think one of the most brilliant things you've done is that there's really no villain in the show. Everyone is extremely likable. And I think it's so, one of the things that I thought was so powerful about it is that you want to accept positions from people that you want to be friends with and you enjoy and you like, right? You want to agree with them.
Yeah, you don't want to like
You don't-
somebody
right?
you disagree
Don't
with.
challenge me.
Like, I really like
Like
that guy.
my
If
thought.
that's what he thinks, then maybe we can find some common ground.
Right.
You've managed to create a show without anyone on stage who is a villain, who is unlikable, and even the people that are professing beliefs that you may not agree with are just so darn lovable. Like, again, and kudos to the cast, really. I mean, I think that's one of the most powerful things about the show.
Well, and that was probably the hardest thing for me, is because I'm obviously coming at it having a point of view, and I had to be like, well, how does somebody who disagrees with me, how do you make them not a total jerk? And I hopefully we pull it off. But and then I think you're right. There's no villain, but there's just these opposing points of view, and I don't know that either of them are right.
Right.
In the end, they just have a different idea of how to go at this. Right?
Well, I can't recommend highly enough seeing this show if you're in New York, and hopefully you'll get to see it way outside of New York for many, many years to come. That's certainly, what I would love to see the show do. But, I always tell our viewers, if you come to New York, see 2 shows, see one on Broadway, one off Broadway, and now I'm going to say see 2 off Broadway shows.
That's right.
Yours and ours.
Forget the Broadway. Just do the 2 off Broadway.
Just come to New World Stage and see all the shows.
One-stop shopping
Broadway,
right here.
They don't need the money. They're
they're
doing fine.
good.
Come to our shows.
Okay, so we do always end with a drink. Can I have one of you guys make a real quick drink? Because it's just a cute. I'm doing a Presbyterian.
Ooh.
Because it's church and state.
Don't make
right?
me do
Go
it.
back, you just make
cool?
the drink.
Yeah, of course.
Cool. Jump on back here. It's really easy. I kept them really simple because I know you guys are going right to a performance. So
We got the show tonight.
go ahead and fill these rock glass up with ice. There should be plenty of ice for you back there.
more than that.
Great. And this is
God, I'm having
fancy,
flashbacks.
a fancy name for a whiskey and ginger ale with a splash of soda.
Okay.
Is all it is. So right down there you have a bottle of Jack Daniels.
I do.
Yep. So now I want you. Are you righty or lefty?
Ready.
Okay, great. So go ahead and put that in your other hand. Put the bottle in your other hand, and you're gonna pick up that soda gun right there.
Wow.
Yeah. And you see the G on there?
I see the G.
Good. I want you to press that at the same time that you pour the Jack in the glass.
Okay, just at the same time.
At the same
I don't know
time.
if I'm going to be able to do this. It's almost like I've never done it before.
Just before the top.
Ready?
Yep.
I wait.
Good.
No,
You
I
got
like
it.
a little more Jack in there. That's good. Should I try that again?
Yep,
I'll do
yep,
it better
yep,
this
yep.
time.
Good. And leave yourself a little room. Good.
Who
And then
needs
one
room? God, there's a lot of. This is a dangerous gun.
more. Yes.
I want to roll that one.
Now, you want to roll it?
Yeah, can
Go
I
ahead,
roll that one?
roll them all.
I learned.
Yeah, roll them all.
You want me to roll them
You can
all?
always roll drinks.
Why not mix it
I never knew
well?
that's what's called rolling.
Yeah, it's called rolling.
We did
It's
that
just in and
in
out.
college. Just the one red cup into the other red
Yep,
cup.
that's it. The original rolling.
Solo rolling, I think.
Good.
they
And
call
now
that.
on the gun, you see there's a big bar called soda.
I do.
Just splash, splash, splash.
Soda.
Yep. Boom, boom, boom. And that's it. Just throw a black stir in there, and that's our
It's a healthy
Presbyterian.
pour, Rob Nagel. It's a healthy pour.
Thank you. Good
Yeah.
luck.
Let's
Ooh,
see
a
how
little
it is
chilly.
there. And this was actually named
need to
because
try
this
and-
is what people would drink after going to
church? Oh, really?
Yeah.
In the South? Oh,
After a
absolutely.
good sermon.
Yeah. Ah. Lovely. Nice and light, refreshing, still very Southern drink.
Very Southern.
I love it. Guys, I can't tell you what a privilege. Yeah!
I got a show.
Rob Nagel, Jason Odell Williams of Church and State right here at New World Stages. Guys, I can't tell you what a privilege it was when I heard that you guys were coming on the show. I was thrilled. Just a huge, huge fan. Can't wait to see the full production.
Thank you, Anthony.
Folks, again, check us out, BroadwayBartender.com. Recipes, links to Church and State. Any other, what's the website?
Church, State,
Church and
State,
State
the play.
play.com.
Or you can go to New World Stages, buy
yes.
tickets there, also information. Oh yeah, I forgot the garnish, candied ginger.
Candied ginger.
Yeah, our producer got that for us. Great call,
thank
that
you,
makes
producer.
all the difference. Wonderful.
This is trouble.
BroadwayBartender.com. Drink well, drink responsibly.
Cheers.
Guys,
Delicious.
thank you. What a great conversation. I really
Thanks for
enjoyed it.
having
Thank
it.
you very much.
Really enjoyed that.